and sometimes the struggle, by no means, because I love doing what I do. But as a leader, speaking realistically, you got to truly be grounded in heart, mind, soul, and in your strength. Because there will be people that will come and there will be people that will go. There will be people that will come and take, and there will be people that will not leave. And I mean, will not give. But they'll take. And then you'll have those that will be mutual. They will give as much as they take, and they'll give. It's a mutual exchange. And so here it is. You got to understand, he saw all these things that were taking place with all these people.
That's right.
We're talking about a nation of people. A nation. And we look at how our nation does. It's so much stuff till it's not funny. You got everybody believing how they want to believe, doing whatever they want to do. And when you come and you say, y'all, we got to do it like this, we got to do it like that, you're going to have those few folk that always have a better way. You'll have those folk that say, well, if we do it like this, then I ask you, are we supposed to do it like that? And I'm not being funny and I'm not being mean, but you have to understand, whenever you have been given a responsibility, you have to stick with that.
That's right.
And if you're going to follow the person that has that, then follow the instructions. Sometimes people find that so hard to do. And it's not because it's hard, it is because when your will is not in it. Remember he said, guard to do according to what? According to the Torah. The Torah gives us instructions and it helps to define and develop us as a people.
That's right.
But development is hindered when we stray from that.
Yes.
Once again, you don't see them having problems in the king animal world, in the insect world. Bees do what they have to do.
That's right.
They ain't sitting up there fighting. Ants do what they have to do. It's only in our setting that we have those issues. In spite of the challenges, Yahusha took it on and he did what he had to do. Now you have to understand that was a hurtful thing for the patriarch that had led them and had come back to bring them out, that now he has to die. This is why it's important that we always keep this in mind. Don't ever let a person take you to a place you don't want to go.
That's right.
Or you're not supposed to go.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter who they are. Because you have to know that you don't want to forfeit what is going on in your life, and then you don't want to get in trouble with Yahuwah.
That's right.
That's right.
And it's not the fact that you just don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to hurt him.
That's right.
You don't want to forfeit your relationship with
That's
him.
right.
That's right.
That's right.
And so it's important that we understand that. And I've been, you know, when we were in Christianity, people tell me, you know, you're so hard. No, I'm not hard. I just believe in getting stuff done.
That's right.
You can't get stuff done if you plan and you messing around. If that's the case, I would have been out there doing everything else but what I'm supposed to do. I believe that if you set something in order and you set it in motion, that's what you're supposed to do. When I was in Christianity, Yahuwah gave me 5 things that I truly believe that he gave it to me. He said, set a course of action, stick to it, follow it through. Properly position yourself. Wait for the next command. That's 5 things that we have to do. Then in between those, he gave us proclaim, educate, minister, worship.
That's right.
Order. You got to have some kind of vision in order to lead people to their destination.
That's right.
So people have said, boy, you so hard. No, I'm not hard. I just believe in getting the job done. You can't get the job done if you're messing around.
That's right.
You can't get the job done if folks are not focused. This is why he gave them leadership that would say, look, y'all, get in line. I'm not going to spare your feelings because we got a water fight. We can't be sitting up here, okay, well, we got to do it like this. Now, once again, remember, we're still looking at the scripture. But I'm talking from experience. Y'all, we got to make sure we're doing what needs to be done, because when everybody is on the same page and flowing in the same direction, it's just like that traffic flow, them ants. Only time it get messed up is when we start messing around with it. And guess what? You might move a few of them out the way and you turn back around. They still going. You see them carrying they wounded and they dead out the way. And they keep it going because they understand, I have a purpose. I've got to get this done. And if we would seek to do that same thing, you know how much stuff as a people we could get accomplished? We could get a whole lot accomplished. So as we look at what he takes in and what he inherits. Now Moshe just put them as a nation. Now we take it up in chapter 1 and we're going to read all the way to verse 18. So we're going to do 2 verses apiece. And we're going to see what he has to deal with. Once again, he has to remind the people. And that's one of the things about our people. If we don't stay prayed up and we don't stay fasted up, we have quick amnesia. We get that amnesia. We get long-term and short-term amnesia. And that's one of the things we cannot afford to do. You understand, when you are in war, you always have to be battle ready. And that's the truth, because you never know when the enemy is going to blitz you. You don't ever know when he's going to set a trap. You don't ever know what he's going to do, but you got to always be ye ready.
That's right. That's right.
Because you don't never know what's going to happen. And that's why we need to make sure that we're guarding the Torah in our lives, because if you guard it, I promise you it'll guard you.
That's right.
It will. It'll keep you from moving outside of what you're supposed to move outside of. Understand, once again, I understand we all have situations and we all have things we're dealing with, but you can't let them deal with you. You have to deal with it and not let it deal with you.
That's right.
You have to. You got to keep it under your feet where you can keep control of it and it doesn't control you. That is important. Because we don't want to be no puppets on the string. That's why I love, what was it, Ultron and Iron Man. And the one thing, even though he was a villain, but he was a notorious villain. He was a ruthless villain, but he was a villain that I liked. Because when he came in the room with all of them, the Avengers was in the room, and he stood up in there, and he stood up there with that Mac on, and he said, there are no strings on me. In other words, none of y'all control me. Even though he was made, the suit was made and occupied by him, he said, ain't no strings on me. In other words, I'm not a puppet. I can't be moved here, there, and everywhere. That's the mentality we have to have when it comes down to situations in our lives. Especially things that come to destroy our belief and that come to try to hold us down.
That's right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
It's important that we understand that. You can't let them things become strings on your life, because it'll have you over here, it'll have you over there, it'll have you locking and popping. It'll have you almost crump dancing with all the stuff that's going on. That's why now, you have to understand, when I say no strings on me, I'm not talking about Torah. I'm talking about the things outside of Torah.
That's right.
That comes to take away your focus, that comes to take away your drive, your passion, and your momentum when it comes down to the things of Abba Yahuwah. You got to be driven by the love you have for him.
That's right.
To do what's right.
That's right.
Because there's going to always be something coming. It's going to be one thing after the other. Once you come out and you grab the bubble to get that air, you got to understand there's another wave coming. But we got to be able to maintain. We have to be able to maintain until the calm of the storm. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And as you are able to do that, guess what? You still build it, because you're not panicking. The reason why people die is because they panic. And when you panicking, nobody save you. Because that's when you turn into that mode, self-preservation, and I got to save myself. So anything that comes to me, even if it is help, I got to fight it, because I'm thinking, that's not going to help me. And we can't do that. We got to stay focused. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. Yahusha, the son of Nun. 4:15.
Verses. Coming from the set-apart scriptures. Now after the death of Moshiach, the servant of Yahuwah, it came to pass that Yahuwah spoke unto Yahushua, the son of Nun, Moshiach's servant's assistant, saying, Moshiach, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Yarden, you and all this people, to the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Yasrael. And it is so.
And it is so. Now once again, he's got the task, y'all. Don't slow down. They couldn't slow down. Now in Yahusha 1:1, Yahusha's name means Yahuwah is salvation. Who is the son of Nun, meaning a fish or dag in the water, which hints at Yahusha, the son of Nun's Ruach father, or Papa Moshiach. The great fish, or fishes, were the first creatures baruch by power to be fruitful and multiply on the 5th day. In the same manner, Yahusha, the son of Nun, leads the nation of Yisrael into the promised land to occupy it. Now, I look at this, but I'm going to look that up and do a little more on that. I love to read the footnotes every now and then, just to put them out there, to give people a sense of what's going on, especially when it comes to footnotes, because sometimes people have already come across it, sometimes people have already heard it. And the reason why I say that is because you have to understand there's also a pagan power that's named Dagon. That's also represents the fish. And sometimes syncretism and sometimes the merging of things can come into play. And that's why it's important. And like I say, I read these things so that we can be aware, and sometimes to allude of certain things we need to stay away from. You have to understand the fish was never representative of Yahusha or of the congregation. It represented Christianity, but even in that, it still had its paganism in it.
That's right.
Because it represented Dagon. It never represented, you know, people say Ichthus. Ichthus has nothing to do with the congregation of Yahuwah.
That's right.
The reason why they did that, because that is a symbol of like I say, of Dagon, the fish. And so that's what they did. It's always them sliding something in there every now and then, and you have to be careful. Once again, people love the fish. They say fish. Well, basically, they're in the same boat. Because Darwin's fish is Dagon's, and the fish that they said Christianity used, that, you know, they said, well, Ichthus, and it meant, you know, when they were hiding, that they had to use this so that they would know it would be a marker. Well, understand, that still was paganism, because that's Dagon.
That's right.
So once again, it's important that we understand, because nowhere in the scripture does Yahuwah ever refer to the congregation or Yahusha in a fish manner.
That's right.
Or using a fish symbol. So it's important that we understand that. And so once again, that's why I read, so that we'll understand. Yahusha was never, ever, in any way remotely represented a fish.
That's right.
So we have to understand, once again, I read the footnotes to allude us to certain things and to cause us to be aware of certain things. You know, people may not wear the cross, but they sure put that fish up there.
Yeah, right.
That's still showing that you are a follower of Dagon, and that you hold on to that. Once again, it's important that we understand that, and it is so.
And it is so.
It is so.
But he gives him this task, and he gives him this responsibility. And he said, Moshiach, my servant, is dead. Now, mind you, this is his assistant. Yahusha is the son of Nun, is Moshiach's assistant. Now, he has inherited the responsibility, the love. He has inherited the responsibility for correcting, for keeping these people in line so that they can get to their destination.
That's right.
And so look what he says to him. He says, my servant is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, not some of the people, all the people, to the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Yisrael. So it is important that we understand what he had to do. First of all, he had to get out, because remember, they had to go into a time of mourning after the death of Moshiach. So they mourned his death. And after their mourning, he said, now get up, because it's time to do some moving. It's time to move forward. And there are times in our lives that things will come upon us and that things will happen. And even in that, after our time of mourning, it's time to get up and move forward. But once again, you got to be willing to follow the one that Yahuwah has chosen.
That's right.
He didn't choose himself. He was right there beside him. And so he learned certain things. He understood certain things. And above all, he was who Yahuwah chose to take the responsibility. And so with that, we have to look and we have to watch. Once again, this is why he tells him these things concerning leadership. All right, 3 and 4, please.
Verse 3. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given to you, as I said to Moshiach. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. And it is so.
And it is so. Every place of the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given to you, as I said to Moshiach. The Baruch and the promises didn't change. It was just the leadership that changed.
That's right.
He said, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. Now you have to understand that's what I told Abba Yahuwah for being able to have a projector and have the maps, because you have to understand the graphics and how they went and where they went and how large that what Yahuwah gave them, because there were so many of them. One of the things that I say, and I never say it to be negative or derogative, and I pray for those that are over there, but many people that say, oh, we're going over there now. When he said that he would give us land, he didn't say he would give us just a dwelling place, just a small place. He said that he would give us land according to our families. Now you have to understand what that entails. It's not just talking about our immediate, or you understand me, our immediate mishpachah. That's talking about our, those that are a part of us, walking in truth. So when you have a mishpachah, and just say it's you and your family, their family, so you have to understand we're talking about children, grandchildren, children. That's what he said he would give to us over in our land, in our home. So my mentality is I'm not going to settle. I'm going to go when he tells me to go. Right. I've heard a lot of people say, well, they're going to go and that's where they're going to be. Once again, there are so many restrictions and there's so many things that are taking place over there. In my opinion, right now, it is not wise to go.
That's right.
Because you still can't go everywhere you want to go. There are still restrictions. Have you ever noticed? I mean, I would just like to go and look at praying at no wailing wall. I want this wall made into a wailing wall as a symbol. But have you noticed in any picture or any video feed, how many of us do you see at that wall? You don't see not one beautiful chocolate face up there. Why? Because it is forbidden for us to go there. There are areas that you cannot go to. I saw a video where there was this melanated husband and wife, and they were in the store. And there was the wife, and it was the husband, and I think they had a child. And y'all, and the way they were doing them people, I am not telling no lie. I would never lie. There was no way that I would have somebody up in my face. I'm talking about like this. Your nose don't get bit off. Because I'm not about to kiss you. But first and foremost, I'm not going to let you get that close up on me. They all in their face calling them niggers and y'all black cells don't need to be over here. And I'm just telling you, because if you don't hear it and see it from me, I promise you, you'll see it on a video. And they all up in their face, and boy, they are just being antagonistic. And the only thing they can do, because if they attack them in any way, they go to jail or they can be deported. They're over there genociding our people. They're over there making young girls from 18 and up have hysterectomies and then take stuff that will cause them to be sterile where they can't have babies. I don't want to go over there because ain't nobody going to be giving my daughters or my sons anything that will keep them from being productive. Well, does that matter to me? I don't want to go over there and be taking something, and next thing I know, I'm in the hospital, and they say we got to do surgery. We're going to burn it down. Burn that sucker down. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So it's important that we understand there's a time for everything. And watch this. When it was time, how many people went over?
All of them. All of them.
Say it again.
All of them.
Say it again.
All of them.
All of them. Not a handful that had enough of money to do it. All of them. I looked up to see how much it would be. It'd be just $10,000 for us just to get on a plane, and then we couldn't even get on a plane as a family. We'd have to be divided and broken up. Why would I want to go and I cannot go and it's to pick up and go? And then when you go, most of the time people cannot live in the city of Jerusalem. You very rarely see our faces there. Once again, you got to understand, there are rabbis and there are those that are in those places and sages that will not. I have documents. I have documents that show you cannot go over there. And if you go over there, first and foremost, you can't be nationalized right off. And if they choose to reject you and not let you come in, you can't come in. All kind of videos. Why do I want to subject myself to that? It is a land that is beautiful. Yes, I dream about it. I long to be home and be where he has promised me. But until he tells all of us, rise up and let's all go over, me being able to go over with my family is not enough.
That's right.
When we all go over, that's when we know we are walking and we are moving in his timing. It's still too much work to do here to get our people together so we can all go.
That's right.
Because we got, they have the saying in government, no child left behind. Well, ours ought to be no Israelite left behind.
That's right.
We trying to get in it to win it. We in it to win it, and we trying to get everybody that we know that are Israelites to move so we can do what we have to do.
That's right.
Can't do that if we ain't all on the same page. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Now, once again, look at the responsibility. He said, this is what you're going to have. And it shall be, to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. Once again, everybody had ample amount of space. Nobody was like the little hole in the wall clubs. If you've ever heard about them with the dirt floors, and you got this much dance room. It ain't because because you want to dance like that. It's because you got 50 folk on each side and you don't want to bump nobody, because if anybody fall and y'all all fall, y'all gonna need the fire marshal to come in there and get everybody up. That's just how small it is. So we want to have what he's given unto us. And for those that are over there and that have been over there, we constantly pray for them.
Yes.
For the freedom. But if it ain't time, we can pray all day long. But we pray for security and safety. Because you can't go everywhere.
That's right.
And it's a known truth, not a fact. Facts change, truth remains the same.
That's right.
And so we pray for them. You hear all kinds of stories, and some stuff I don't even listen to. I don't want to hear it. But we pray for them. But for those of us that are still here, us going to we joining a fight, you better make sure Yahuwah is in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You're right.
Because if not, you're fighting a battle that he has not sanctioned. And if you do that, you're fighting on your own. But everybody went over, not those that just had all the money. And it is so.
And it is so.
5, 6, please.
There shall not any man be able to stand before you all the days of your life. And I was with Moshe, so I will be with you. I will not fail you, nor forsake you. Be strong and of a good courage, for to this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land, which I swore to their avot to give them. And it is so.
And it is so. Now once again, listen at verse 5. There shall not any man be able to stand before you all the days of your life. That means when somebody comes up against you, they won't be able to prevail and win.
That's right.
That's not happening right now. And that's the truth, is it? No, it's not happening. He said, now look, as I was with Moshe, so will I be with you. I will not fail you nor forsake you. It's important that we understand that. Now, once again, this is the building up to where he is truly showing him and telling him why, because you have to understand, the people have to feel and know that the leader believes, and so because he believes or she believes, then there's no reason for the congregation and those that are following not to believe.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
He says, be strong and of a good courage, for to this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land, which I swore to your abbas, or to their abbas, to give them. Now, once again, you got to understand what's being built up to. He understands the mentality of the character of the people, but that can't thwart him. He still has to maintain his position and maintain his stamina when it comes down to doing what Yahuwah has given him to do. Regardless of how, if they're in or out, his responsibility is to get them to that land.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And to position them on that land. As a leader, my responsibility is to get your mind positioned and your heart positioned in truth.
That's right.
Right.
That's my position. That's my obligation, my responsibility. That's my charge.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important that we understand that. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
That is the charge. And we can't do anything outside of that. And it is so.
And it is so.
7 and 8.
Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may reserve to do according to all the Torah which Moshe, my servant, commanded you. Turn not from it, commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left hand, to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This scroll of the Torah shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written therein. But then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. And it is so.
And it is so. And I told you, I tell you that the writings, there are 2 different renderings of it. And I like the one where it says, and you shall have, and you shall act wisely, because that is the real rendering of the writing. Now he says to him, only be strong and very courageous. As you see, very courageous within itself is an adjective. It describes how he's supposed to be. Very comes in and makes make it even that more descriptive, because now you can't just be courageous. You have to be very courageous. Emphasis.
Yes.
That means because there are going to be what? Challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And because challenges come day after day, night after night. They come when you awake, they come when you sleep. They come when you already engaging in one thing, they're right there at your back door. If they ain't at your back door, they at your front door. If they ain't at your front door, they at your window. And though challenges come, we still got to remember the mission and the commission. Regardless of what's going on. Now he says that you may observe, excuse me, to do according to all the Torah, not partial, not some of it. You know why he had to emphasize all? Because we're going to see later on as we continue to study and read, they began to only follow what they wanted to follow. Right. And then when they chose not to, they started breaking it up and discarding what they didn't want. And so they started living partially by the Torah. And there's no such thing, because either you're going to do all of it or none of it at all.
That's right.
Are we understanding?
Yes.
Now he says, my servant commanded you, which is Moshe, turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
It's important because everywhere they went, they wanted to what? Prosper. No matter what. If it's a stopping place, I want to what? Prosper. If it's me just for being there for a length of time, I want to what? Prosper.
Right.
Because the more you prosper, the more you have to deal with. And that's not just financially.
That's right.
We got to prosper up here in our knowledge. We have to prosper in our love. We have to prosper in our health.
That's right.
You don't want to just be sitting up there and have all this stuff and then you can't do nothing. We've known people that had all kind of money, but their health was horrible. And all the money they had still couldn't bring them to a place of healing.
Right.
So we want to be able to prosper wherever we go. Now verse 8 says, and this scroll of the Torah shall not depart out of your mouth. He was telling him, because as long as it did not depart out of his mouth, it would never depart out of the people's mouth that had will to do what is right. Because whatever is rehearsed out of his mouth should also be rehearsed out of those mouths that are following him.
That's right.
That's the same thing with leadership and with congregation. This is why, once again, when you run into people that are malicious, mean, and just cutthroat, you have to understand whose mouth were they hearing the Torah come out of.
That's right.
That's right.
Because whatever you hear, that's what you're going to receive, and whatever you receive, that's what you're supposed to give out.
That's right.
And it's just the truth.
That's right.
And so he says, but you shall meditate therein day and night. Not just when it's easy,
That's right. That's right.
but day and night. Day and night. Night and day. All day long. When you're playing your games. When you're studying. When you're involved in other things. Your daily routine, your work. You're supposed to what? Meditate upon it.
That's right.
You're supposed to always have that place in your mind and in your heart that is reserved for Torah thinking. So that when something catches you or tries to catch you off guard, guess what? You still have Torah right there that comes up as a defense in your life.
That's right.
So when you may want to react, your mind and your heart will tell you, respond. Think before you leap. Think before you speak.
That's right.
That's right.
Because a lot of things can be diffused if we would just give ourselves time before we start trying to rattle off.
Yes.
I'm telling you from example. Because sometimes we get to a point, if we're not careful, we'll be, like I said on last night, we'll be chasing any and everything.
That's right.
And so once again, not only are we looking for success, but we're looking for wisdom to act wisely.
That's right.
Because as the children of power, it is important that we act wisely. Because you can't get out there acting like you don't know who you are, acting like a fool.
That's right.
And I'm just being real. Because a fool have said in his heart, there is no power. Now you have to understand, if you say it in your heart, most times people can't hear what you say, but they know what you're saying by your actions. They know what you're saying by your actions. Body language says a whole lot. Body language says a whole lot. In a little bit of time that I would read about psychology, you know a whole lot. Handshakes, body language, eye movement. When people won't look at you in the face. Everything has or says something. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And so a lot of time what happens, we can see those things. So if you're out there acting like a fool, because what you said in your heart then guess what? People are going to look and say, well, he must have no power, she must have no power in their lives. Why? Because it's determined by your actions.
Right.
If you ratchet, you ain't no power in your life.
That's right.
Because you don't have no discipline.
Right.
And when you have no discipline, you're saying there is no power.
That's right.
And that makes you a what? A fool.
That's right.
Good and dry.
That's right.
Are we understanding?
Yes.
So it's important that we understand. We want to act wise. And we want to have success.
Yes.
We want to prosper. But you cannot prosper outside of His truth. And it is so.
It is so.
Now, once again, this is what they were supposed to have, and they had to have it. Now, once again, people say, well, we don't have to have code. We got to do that on our own. Understand, all those people had already tried to do it on their own. And the majority of them got what? Smoked in the very beginning. Because they rose up against Moshe. And then they said, well, we don't like the way it's done. And Yahuwah said, okay, since you don't like the way it's done, this is how it's going to happen. And He caused the ground to open up and swallow Korah and their family. Why? Because they wanted a golden calf. Because they did not want to wait on Yahuwah. So they said, hey, y'all, let's do this, let's do this. And Haran, with his simple, silly self, that's right, I said simple, silly self. Because when you know who you ought to never let somebody change you or make you go into a place you know is not right.
That's right.
Now I'm going to create something that I have to create that I can call it power.
That's right.
We didn't create Yahuwah, so we can't destroy Him, but He created us, and He surely can't destroy us.
You sure can.
And He doesn't have to destroy us quickly. He can make us suffer. And I don't want that to happen to me. We've already seen enough of that. And
right.
it is so.
It is so.
All right, 9 and 10.
Verse 9 reads, Have not I commanded you, be strong and of a good courage, be not afraid, neither be ye dismayed, for Yahuwah your power is with you, in all which you do. Then Yahusha commanded the officers of the people, saying,
Go ahead and read it, because that's all one
Okay.
statement.
Verse 11, Pass through the host and command the people, saying, Prepare the supplies, for within 3 days you shall pass over this Jordan, to go and to possess the land, which Yahuwah your power gives you to possess it.
And it is so.
It is so.
Now listen, he's asking a question. Have not I commanded you, be strong, and be and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be you dismayed, for Yahuwah your power is with you in all which you do. See, whatever He gives us to do, He's going to be with us. We just got to maintain with Him.
That's right.
We are the ones that end up leaving course. We're the ones that always forget to take the turn. When He said, turn here, turn there, I've given you the instructions to follow. We're the ones that always miss that turn. Not Him.
That's
He'd
right.
still be right there waiting. Saying, oh, I was waiting on you to come back and fix it. But we continue to move on. Now listen to what he says in verse 10. Then Yahusha commanded the officers of the people, saying, now after Yahuwah commissioned and commanded him, now his responsibility is to do what? Call the officers. And this is what he did. Pass through the host and command the people. Delegated authority. When you are delegated an authority, the thing that you must understand is when you are given that position, you need to fulfill that position that's delegated to you.
That's right.
That's right.
He gave them a command. He said, prepare your supplies, for within 3 days you shall pass over this Jordan to go in to possess the land which Yahuwah your power gives you to possess it. Now he had to prepare the people. Now one thing about this right here, where this can be really a slippery slope with a lot of people, because people think, well, I'm already ready to go. You can't go until he tells that or who is in charge it's time to move.
That's right.
But he says prepare. Somebody say prepare.
Prepare.
Say it again, prepare.
Prepare.
It's important that we understand how to prepare. Before you can prepare your supplies, you must prepare your heart and your mind.
Right.
He says, because now we finally made it to this place to where now we're getting ready to do what we have walked, what we have waited for, what we have cried for, what we have, excuse me, what we have longed for, what we have had to be still for. We are finally at the threshold of us getting ready to transition and get what we've been promised.
That's right.
Instructions are key. If we don't follow instructions, we will miss it.
That's right.
It's just like putting stuff together. If you don't follow the instructions, you're going to miss something.
Yes.
I don't care how savvy you are with putting stuff together. I don't care how savvy you are of doing things. If you don't follow the instructions, you're going to mess up big time because you're going to leave a screw or something out.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I remember a family member putting a bike together. And then we was like, all these screws left out. Well, we didn't need them. I'm like, if they're in the box and in the bag, you need them. There ain't no extra screws. The child get on the bike is going to fall apart. Going to fall off from under him. Because we become what? Impatient. You got to read the manual to know the instructions. And then once you do that, you still have to go sometime to that or who is in charge of putting that manual together. And sometimes we think, well, we got to go straight to Yahuwah. Yes, we pray. But there are times you go to the one that passed out that manual. Well, how am I supposed to do this? What do I need to do with this? And what should I do? And we always think that when we do this, well, that's Christianity. That is not Christianity. So I guess paying your bills is paganism. I guess getting money from the government is paganism. Because who faces on there? The presidents. And people will kill for that money. People will lie for it. People will steal for it. Or steal to get it. But yet we go ahead on. And we do what we got to do. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
We'll do what we have to do. It's important that we understand once again what is taking place. He gave them a time frame to do what they needed to do. This is where, once again, it gets to where you have to put aside your desires and sometimes your own personal inner wars or beliefs. Are you understanding?
Yes.
And this is where it becomes challenging because a lot of times people don't like this because they get their toes stepped on. When you're given instructions, that's what you do. You follow those instructions.
That's right.
Are you understanding?
Yes.
Whenever you're told, you know why? Because when we're on a job, if you work on a job, we follow that to what? To the ladder. Because we understand if we don't, there are what? Consequences.
That's right.
But then when it comes to Yahuwah, sometimes we think he's supposed to be lenient with us. And we say, y'all know we got to do this. We got to get this done. Y'all, we need to get this. We got calendars we need to get done. I got to do calendars. I got to get this done. We need to research and get this. That's when you have to understand what you wanted to do and what you had planned for is obsolete. It's not important anymore. It is about the vision and it is about the purpose of the unity and the unifying of us as a body.
That's right.
That's right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
He said in 3 days. Tell them folk to get their supplies together. They didn't have time to be sitting up there. Well, I'll just wait. I got the 3rd day. He said in 3 days, this is what's going to happen. So get your stuff together. You got 3 days to get it together. We get mad when people give us a time. We get mad when people get do. On me, let's move.
That's right.
Left, right, left, whatever. This is how we're going to do this. You take the, you go high, I go low. Everybody out there trying to do what they want to do, somebody going to die. Even when we play games. I'm going to the door, and if don't nobody say where they're going, we just start swacking and swinging, and then somebody dies. Military games. That's why I love playing military games. And really, when you have a good crew, I love playing military games. Because what it shows is it shows discipline, and it shows order, and it shows who's trying to be the hog and who's trying to fall in line.
That's right.
The other night playing Battlefield, we had a good group. You can only have, what, 5 to a team. I could play recon. I could play, service, recon, medical, assault, support. I was playing support. That's when you pass out the ammo. And so normally I love running recon because I love being a sniper. But this time there was somebody else that had it, and I was like, well, if you got it, you going with it, I'll do supply. We all stayed in a little area, and wherever the leader of it posted up, we all maintained where the leader of it was right there. Y'all, we won all 5 games until we started slipping up. And when we slipped up, we lost that game. And when we lost that game, that's when people started getting all of their feelings, and that's when everybody started leaving. But the bottom line is that when you know whoever's in charge, you support, you do what you got to do. We had medical, we had all that. So anytime we got low with supply, we was right there. Anytime somebody got shot, got to the point they were about to die, we had medical right there. We had the beacon, the recon right there, so we could always spawn in the same place, so when we wouldn't spawn way across the room. Are you hearing me? Why? Because if you spawn in the same place, that means if somebody's under fire, when you come through the portal, right there, especially when you coming through, and either you have an AK or you have, I love to run with that, what's that,
DBV-12.
that DBV-12. I like running with that. And so when you come through there, you come through blasting. And guess what? You saved your what? Your team. It's about teamwork.
That's right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
He had officers that did it because he couldn't do it all himself.
Right.
You have to understand delegation. When you're delegated something, you got to follow it through because it makes it so much easier and so much better.
That's right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Because it's not just one person's load to carry.
That's right.
That's right.
And a lot of times when people get out there by themselves and they feel like I can do this, I'm glad to bust your bubble. You cannot do it on your own.
That's right.
People get in the way and because Yahuwah gonna do this. Really? Show me where he said for people to go by themselves. Even the prophets did not go by themselves.
That's right.
They had those that were with them. Like I say, no man's an island and no man stands alone. And I know sometimes people are far away and they feel like, well, I don't have nobody. Yes, you do. I may not can reach out and physically touch you, but I can still touch you with my words if you allow them to do so.
That's right.
That's right.
We've got to get beyond these barriers and truly start appreciating and say, no, I'm going to be right there. And if it ain't with us, that's fine. But find somebody that you be right there with so that you can be fed. And as they're feeding you, you can turn right around and support them.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
It's an exchange of energy.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
It's an exchange. It's important that we understand that. Because when we do, we will be truly a force, a family of power, unstoppable.
That's right.
We got to remember that. I'm not
That's
here to
right.
fight you, and I'm not going to. Because I have bigger battles. Are you understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the thing we have to understand. We're not here to fight each other, but the enemy of our belief. How? By maintaining our consistency in believing in Yahuwah and what he has set for us as a set apart people.
That's right.
I believe in the Torah with my whole life.
Yes,
I do.
that's
I
right.
believe in it.
That's right.
I believe in it. And I'm not ashamed of living by it.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
Because I love it.
That's
I
right.
love what I do. And I love living for Yahuwah. And I love knowing that Yahushua is our Redeemer.
That's right.
And knowing that he gave his life so that we could have a right to the relationship with our Yahuwah. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, 12 and 13.
And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, spoke Yahushua, saying, Remember the word which Moshe the servant of Yahuwah commanded you, saying, Yahuwah your power has given you rest, has given you this land.
And it is so. Now remember, now this is where now we're getting ready to see the help come in. Well, now you have yours. You've gotten rest. Your family and your children are in their yard playing. You finally can unpack, put your mirrors up, put your pictures up. You can finally unpack and get your stoves out. You can finally unpack and say, this is going to be our room. That's going to be the children's room. You finally there. You can unpack your stuff. You got your stuff to where you want. Now he says, now don't forget those that still have to fight to get theirs. Are we understanding?
Yes.
It's important that we remember that. All right, let's read.
14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 14, and it reads, excuse me. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moshe gave you on this side of Jordan. But you shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them, until Yahuwah have given your brethren rest, as he has given you. And they also have possessed the land which Yahuwah your power gives them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moshe the Yahuwah's servant gave you on this side of the Jordan toward the sun rising. And it is so.
And it is so. Now he commissions them. He said, now look what he told them. He didn't tell them to stand in the back. He said, y'all go ahead of them. Mighty men of valor. Now once again he says, now he said, your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moshe gave you on this side of Jordan. But you shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them. So once again, he gave them what to do because they got their possession first.
Right.
But now that they've gotten settled in, and like I say, now I'm talking about they cooking now. Honey can get in there and say, this is how we're gonna decorate and do all, we're gonna keep your swords and all your armor on this side so nobody get hurt. We're gonna do this right. And he says, now, you're at home enjoying it. Now let's go ahead and get there. Now you have to understand, I'm sure that them brothers was fighting because they was like, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get back home. I'm ready to get settled in. I'm ready to see some crops growing. I'm ready to get my cattle and do what I need to do. So you have to understand, if I am passionate about what I have, I should be even more passionate about getting you yours.
That's right.
And never look at, oh, until you help me get yours, you got me all, I got to wait for you, so now my stuff is all jacked up. No, it ought to be that whatever you are celebrating and what you are enjoying, you ought to make sure your Ema and your Papa and your Ak and your Cody can experience the same thing.
Yes, that's right.
That's what we ought to do. Once again, it's not about us sometimes. Sometimes we got to get the focus off of ourselves and focus on somebody else.
Yes.
That's right.
And he said, no, you're going to go over. See, because I know you're going to be adamant, and I know passion is going to be kill everything that stands in the way of them getting there. Because the longer I can't go home and be with my family. And I want to be with my family. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And ain't that we don't love being around each other, but that's a long time to be going and not have a stable place. You talking about from pillar to post, even in a good way. Not a bad way, in a good way. But when you finally get it, you appreciate it, because now you say, I ain't got to move no more. Now, if you have to move, it's because you done messed up.
That's right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So once again, it is important that we understand that. It's important that we... So we got to never become selfish to where we feel like, once I get mine, I got mine. And you got to fight your way too. No, he specifically did that so there would always be that connection. And there would always be, hey, we got to help one another.
Right.
It's important that we understand that. Now watch what he says. Until Yahuwah have given your brethren rest. You couldn't even stop. You had to wait till they had rest. As he has given you, and they also have possessed the land which Yahuwah, your power, gives them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession and enjoy it. He didn't say, now when you get over there, you got another battle. He said, no, once this is done, you go and enjoy your life.
That's right.
Yahuwah wants us to enjoy life.
That's right.
That's right.
He don't want us miserable and pinching pennies and living from paycheck to paycheck. That is not his will for our lives.
That's right.
That's right.
Because that's a miserable place. This week, next week, oh my goodness, that's all I got left. You got to give me some creative stretching ability. Let it stretch. Let me find some good sales. Because I need this to stretch.
That's right.
I got to pay that out. I got to pay this out. I got to do this. I got to do that. And this is what I have left. I need you to help me. Then when you get that place now, you ain't got all that to deal with. All you have to do, and they ain't going to worry, be concerned about, is what's going to go where and how it's going to be done. So you have to understand, we have to have the mindset for where we're going and where we are right now.
That's right.
We can't let that ever escape us. Because if it's every man for himself, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Because that's when people run off and leave folk. You see in the movies, Jenny, I love you. Well, leave, Bart, leave. And he looked, I love you, I'm trying to stay, but I can't. He gone in the wind. He loves somebody. No, we're going to find a way to get you from being stuck in this position. We're going to find a way to get you from being stuck here, because you don't need to be stuck. Your love says, I ain't going to leave you. There's something about a love that gives you a strength that's beyond human comprehension.
That's right.
You ain't going to leave them. And you ain't going to sit there, we'll die together. No, we're going to live together. I didn't come this far to die.
That's right.
We ain't giving up on life. Some way we're going to get some strength, and we're going to move this car, we're going to move this fence, we're going to move something, but we ain't about to leave you. We didn't get this far for you to die.
That's right.
We're going to make this thing happen, and we're going to move something. Because that's what love does.
Yes.
We're going to move that out the way. We're going to do something. We're going to find a way. We're going to pray till something happens. We're going to move Yahuwah's hand and heart for us. Because we're walking in obedience. See, that's how we move his hand, by walking in obedience. He said, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Yahoo chapter 7. Are we understanding?
Yes.
It'll be given unto you. We cannot afford to forget. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to have good things. He wants us to enjoy life. But at the same time, he wants us to help others to enjoy life too.
That's right.
That's right. And when we can help one another, then he gets pleasure out of what we do.
That's right.
Because it's about helping one another. Are we understanding?
Yes.
It's about helping our Israelite family. It's about helping them. Now, once again, look at what he says. He gives them the command and he tells them what they're supposed to do. He said, now, once you get over there and they get theirs, you don't stop till they get their rest. Now, let me put this out there. Because a lot of times what ends up happening with us as a people, we start trying to bring everybody. And you can't do that. He was talking about those that were right there. Because they were the ones that were doing what? They had been following and they had been with them all those years. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
Sometimes we can tend to say, well, they're Hebrew, Israelites, but are they walking in truth? Have they been committed? Have they been diligent? See, because you have to understand something. Something I've learned about us as a people, we want to jump on the bandwagon when it's all clear. But you weren't there when we marched around that mountain 40 years. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
You weren't there when we walked through the wilderness and got bit by snakes. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
You weren't there when we had to take a break because we did some more foolish stuff. You were not there in that time. But now that we're getting ready to reap, those of us that have maintained and lived and said, we ain't gonna fall for that, we ain't gonna fall for that, we ain't gonna fall for that, we ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna let this book of the Torah depart out of my mouth, but I'm gonna meditate upon it day and night, that I may observe to do according to all that is written in it, for then I shall make my way prosperous and I will act wisely. You weren't there.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that when people come that we're supposed to turn them away, but I am saying, no, you got to show me that you in it because you love Yahuwah and you ain't in it just because you're trying to get something.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Wisdom has to be that principle, because if not, then you'll be trying to help everybody, and what's this? And then people come and take advantage of it. He said, your brethren, until they are set, because they had already been there. The promise was given to them, not to everybody else. We have to maintain and keep that, because if not, we'll be trying to help and do everything with people that are outside of it. And that's when you can get hurt the worst. Can't do that. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
All right. 16 and 17, please. And go ahead and read 18.
And they answered Yahushua, saying, all that you command us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Just as we obeyed Moshe in all things, so will we obey you. Only Yahuwah your power be with you as he was with Moshe. Any man that rebels against your commandment and will not hearken to your words and all that you command him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of a good courage.
Now that was them saying to him, no, we ain't gonna have none of this. Ain't gonna be none of that lip smacking. Ain't gonna be none of that backing up. Now that's what you have to understand. He said, now look, don't you worry about what this happened, because if they get acting up, we're gonna cut it off. And it said, and they answered Yahushua, saying, all that you command us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. It wasn't none of that, well, we ain't going over there, I don't want to go there, I just don't have the temperament for that. I just don't have what it takes to go over there and do that. I can't do that, that's just not for me. Whatever you tell us to do, we'll do it. In other words, whatever we got to find out how to do it, we will do it. Whatever you tell us to do, we're going to do it. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Because they understood, we're going to follow you because we know Yahuwah is with you. Now listen what he said. Just as we obeyed Moshe in all things. Somebody say in all things.
In all things.
Say it again, in all things.
In all things.
That means that when he had to deal with them in their marriages, when he had to deal with them with their children, when he had to deal with them in their personal lives. They said, whatever he dealt with us with, we're going to follow you and we're going to obey you. And whatever you say, we're going to do it. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
See, that's when you made up your mind, this is what you're going to do. From hell or high water, this is what you're going to do. And they said, and so will we obey you. Only Yahuwah, your power, be with you as he was with Moshe. That's what they said to him. In other words, you continue to follow him and we'll continue to uphold you and have your back. Now watch this. Now they decreed this. Any man that rebels against your commandment. So he didn't have to worry about that. He said, and will not hearken to your words. In all that you command him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of a good courage. They say, you stay encouraged and do what you're supposed to do. We will cut that short real quick.
Right. That's right.
Because once again, you have to understand, all it takes is for one person to rise up and disagree. And everybody else will come up with the notion, oh, we can do this, and we can do this, and we can do that. And they will try to dethrone you and take away what you have. They said, don't worry about that. Because we starts. We will weed it out, and we will destroy it. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
We don't want to kill nobody. But we sure want it to be made known. Don't come with that mess. We got too much to do. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Because you have to understand, this is their way of life. If you can't produce and be productive, you cannot prosper. You can't prosper. And you got people up there with mouths, and like I said, we see it and I watch the movies, and you turn your attention to Acts chapter 28, verses 1 through 31. And you see it in movies, and you always hear me talk about different movies, but we saw it even in The Walking Dead. Like I said, I like watching apocalyptic movies because I like seeing how people will respond and react. And one of the things that the leader said, Rick, when he, in the ones that I did like, the ones now I don't too much watch, but when he told them they had come into a situation where they had gone to this place, Terminus, and the people there were cannibals. And started noticing certain things, and as they noticed them, and they started basically getting them because they were going to eat them. And basically their whole thing was, the reason why when people came, if you were not, or their group for a long time, you were the enemy because they had people that had come in and pillaged them, raped the women, and really did them bad. So they said, for everybody else that come, we're going to make them pay for the people that came before. We will never let anybody do us like that. Now, there's one thing about wisdom. Wisdom says, if you've done me like that, then I'm going to get you. But unless you show me anything different, I have no reason to hold what they did to me over your head.
Right. That's right.
I can't make you pay for somebody else's dirt and mistakes.
Right.
That's right.
And so they get in there, and so to make a long story short, Carol comes in, rescues them, and they get out of Terminus, but some of them still live. And Rick says, we have to kill them all. Now you have the group, Carol said in the other ones, but you have that group that always has to be the ones, we can't kill them, we just go on our way, they're not going to bother us. They were about to eat you. They were about to make you their main course meal. They were not going to let you go, and you think they're not going to come after you done destroyed what they had built up. So later on they end up coming, and you know it always has to be us, a melanin man to die. But the way they did it was they cut off his leg and they ate his leg. And then he would end up turning. So you have to understand, there are times that you do not leave the enemy. Now once again, please understand what I'm saying, because I don't want nobody saying, Prophet Brown is saying kill folk, because if they do something to you, just go kill them. I didn't tell you to do that.
Right.
That's right.
But what I did say, you better close that door.
Right.
Close that door and don't let it be open again. That means leave them alone, stop dealing with them, but I never said kill anybody. So let me make sure you understand that, because we got people out there that just like when you listen to the Peanuts, you hear them saying, the grown-ups saying, whoa, 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 whoa. But Snoopy and Charlie Brown, they all understand that language. But to us, it sounds like, whoa, 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 a whole bunch of gibberish. So I want to make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying. What I am saying is that you have to deal with those issues, and when you deal with them, get far away from them.
Right.
Because if you allow those things to surface, guess what? That same situation will come back and haunt you.
That's right.
And it will ride you, and it will ride you, and it will ride you. There's some things you need to close the door, put a lock on it, and leave it alone. And don't go back and open it up, because if you do, you will open up a can of worms that you will regret for a very long time. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So there's some things we need to leave closed and deal with. And that's what they did. But they took it to the extreme, and they did what they had to do. Do I agree with it? Absolutely. I agree with it in that time. Because we already see what was taking place.
Yes.
Now, once again, in our day and time, we know you can't kill anybody. But you can surely kill the thought and that their actions by leaving them alone and getting them out your life.
Right.
That's right.
Because they can't do anything to you if they're not in your life. If they have no access to you, they can't bother you and they can't harm you. The reason why most of the time people get at us is because we still let them have access to our lives. Whether it's their words or their actions. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And it is so.
And it is so.
So we deal with it. All right. Let's go to Acts chapter 28. And we're going to have, let's read 3 verses, please.
Yeah.
Verse 1. And when they had escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. And the foreigners showed us extraordinary kindness, for they kindled a fire, and received us every one, because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Rabbi Paulus had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, you know, by this time they wigged out right now. This is after the shipwreck, and they ended up getting off and swimming to the land. We talked about this, I believe, in our Torah studies and so forth. We're talking about Rabbi Shaul. And so we look at what's taking place here. And now they're gathering sticks because they're cold, and they're on this island, and the island is called Melita. Let's look up what Melita is, because they said. This island lies between Sicily and Triopolis of Barbary, and is now called modern-day Malta. It was famous for the Knights of Rhodes, which are now referred to as the Knights of Malta. And so, this is what it was. And so, once again, we're looking at the path. Now look at what happened. Now when Rabbi Shaul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. He was preparing the fire. Now you have to understand, anytime a viper is in the fire around like that and jumps out, there's something wrong. Because most of the time snakes will not go around fire like that. They'll stay away. But he came out of the midst of the fire and grabs him and tries to and bites him. He didn't try to, he bites him. And we're going to see what he ends up doing. Now, everybody is looking at him because everybody thinking about he about to kill over. He is about to give it up. Let's see what happens. 4, 5, and 6, please.
And when the inhabitants saw that venomous snake hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he has escaped the sea, yet justice herself has not allowed him to live. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. But they were expecting that he should have swelled up or fallen down dead. But after they had waited a long while and saw no harm come in, they changed their minds and said that he was in power. And it is so.
And it is so. Once again, they about freaked out. They're like, oh my goodness, he's about to fall dead. Well, he wasn't as upright as he claimed to be. He wasn't doing all that. That's why when trouble comes and when stuff like that comes in our lives, we've got to be able to stand the test and know that Yahuwah will bring us through. If, mind you now, he wasn't jumping around all the fire acting like he was crazy. Because he wasn't afraid.
That's right.
He didn't fear that snake biting him. Why? Because he knew who was in charge of his life, and he knew what he had to do, and he knew his, and what Yahuwah told him and gave him to do was not over with.
That's right.
He knew it wasn't. So they were looking at him, and but that takes, once again, you have to stay in a place of knowing who you are and whose you are.
That's right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
That's why most of the time when the enemy does come in, he tries to inflict us with what? Sickness.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to inflict us with stuff like that. He know money and all that stuff. We can get through that. But the first thing he come do is try to inflict your body with sickness. Because then people look at like, I wonder how long they gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it. I thought they was all that. But you have to know that Yahuwah will bring you through. Now, according to them and according to the venomous snake that bit him, he should have died instantly, but it wasn't for him. The attack on the enemy, the attack from the enemy, couldn't take him out. So you have to understand, the weapon will form, but it won't prosper.
That's right.
It'll form, but it will not prosper. And so they see this and they say, well, he's going to die. Now, mind you, he the same one told them, now mind you, because he was on the boat with what? Prisoners, because he was a prisoner himself. But he was a prisoner because of because of the political stand they took against him and his preaching and teaching of truth. They were angry. Let me tell you who stirred it up. It wasn't the Romans that stirred it up. It was his own people that stirred it up. That's what they do. Y'all want to hear something? Y'all, it's a woman teaching, and guess who she teaching? She teaching men. We need to go over there and we need to shut her down. We need to say all kinds of stuff about her. We need to put posts up about her so that people will run away from her. Because she's doing what she's not supposed to do. No, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And any woman that's out there that's teaching and uplifting the name of Yahuwah and teaching people, not gender, appealing to the soul of the Israelite, that you need to get right and you need to come on in, who can forbid you? If you teaching anything else, then I have to basically come in also and correct you. But if you're teaching truth, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yes.
We ain't out here trying to sell no, I'm not out here trying to sell nothing. I'm trying to promote and continue to promote the way of our lifestyle. This is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Now they was ready to see him die. Now mind you, he the same one told him that if you stayed on board, you won't die. Now in their minds you have to understand. Now he told us to stay on board the ship and we won't die, but he gonna get here and get bit by a viper and he gonna die. See, people be thinking karma. Ain't no, we don't fool with no karma. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
No, we deal in truth and where Yahuwah will baruch your life if you walk in obedience.
That's right.
And so they was about messed up, but he got their attention. And he was able to, and they were able to see his life. Now let's watch this. Let's continue to follow along with what's going on. 7, 8, 9.
Verse 7 reads, in the same quarters were possessions of the chief man of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. And it came to pass that the Abba of Populus lay sick, suffering of a fever and dysentery, to which Rabbi Paulus entered in, and prayed and laid his hands on him, and healed him. Verse 9. So when this was done, others also which had diseases in the island came and were healed.
And it is so. Now somebody would say, are they not? Are those just Gentiles? I believe those were the children of Yisrael. Because you have to understand, healing is what? The children's bread. He was shipwrecked and taken all the way to that island to get to them people. Are you hearing me? Go into the hedges and go into the hedges, highways, and byways and compel. Now once again, we look at the word chieftain and we look at those things, and sometimes the first thing, out there doing all kind of other stuff. What were they out there doing? But Yahuwah made sure on him. Now, it's important once again to look at his life. Where everybody else is looking, he gonna die. No, he had a purpose for being there. So, I don't ever look at anything as just being haphazard. I always look at it as being a purpose, and that was the purpose for him to do that. All right, let's look at 10, 11, and 12. Excuse me.
Verse 10 and read. Who also honored us with many, who also esteemed us with many esteem. And when we departed, they gave us with such things as were necessary for us to sail. And after 3 months we departed in an Alexandrian ship, which had wintered in the isle, whose sign was the heavenly twins, Castor and Pollux. And landing at Syracuse, we stayed there 3 days.
And it is so. Now, you have to look at this. Now, when he got there, and when he was on, when Rabbi Shaul was on the boat, did he evangelize those prisoners? Did he minister to them preachers? I mean, to them on that, to the prisoners, no, preachers, the prisoners. I wonder what's, no, I'm just playing. Strike that from the record. I wonder what, did he minister to them? When he got bit, did he explain why he didn't die?
No.
Because it wasn't for them. You hearing me?
Yes.
It wasn't for them. They were still left in possibly a daze. But watch this. Word got to him, and he didn't hesitate. And watch this. And Yahuwah brought forth healing and deliverance, because those were the children of Yisrael.
That's right.
Healing is the children's bread. And if you notice, he didn't go in, it doesn't record that he went in, preaching to them. Because it never said that they weren't living for Yahuwah. It said they were on an island. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Once again, that's what he went to. Because he was sent for who? The prostituting sheep of Israel. He went there and he did what he had to do, and he dealt with it. End of discussion. Are we understanding?
Yes.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Now look. And it says after that, who also esteemed us with many esteems. And when we departed, they gave us with such things as were necessary for us to sail. And after 3 months, we departed in an Alexandrian ship. So they had been there for 3 months. That's 90 days. Which had winter giants, whose sign was the heavenly twins, Castor and Pollux, which were the two. We're going to even learn even more about the constellation and how all that was messed up, and even in the Watchers, how they came and did a whole lot of stuff. Once again, it is the Mazzaret zodiac. We don't follow the zodiac, but that's what it basically turned into, zodiac, but it's the Mazzaret, and it talks about the constellation. Yahuwah created the constellation, but it was turned, the fallen angels turned around and they basically contaminated it and twisted it. So it's important that we understand. And then the Greeks turned around and gave names to basically suit their agenda. But that within themselves is not wrong. It's just getting the right names of the constellations and their purpose. Because everything that we see is always spoken about Yahushua. Always. It just was contaminated because, we were growing up. Don't you mess with them zodiac signs. And we just felt like anything that had a symbol on it like that was the devil. Because they contaminated. But in truthfulness, it is there. We have to look at it in its right context.
Right.
And when you look at it in the right context, then you understand. And it is so. All right. 12, 13, 14, please.
You said 12?
No, I mean 13, 14, 15, because we read and landed at Syracuse. We stayed there 3 days.
Verse 13. And from there we cast off and arrived at Rhegium. And after 1 day the south wind blew. And we came the next day to Puchi. Chili, yeah.
Like patchouli.
Yeah.
Patchouli?
Yeah.
Patchouli.
Patchouli.
Yeah.
Patchouli.
Puchioli. Well, verse 14. Well, we found Yashraelite brothers and were desired to stay with them 7 days. And so we went towards Rome. Verse 15. And from there, when the brothers heard of us, they came to meet us as far as Forum of Appius. And the 3 taverns, whom when Rabbi Paulus saw, he thanked power and took courage.
And it is so. Now, once again, that place, Rhegium, that is a city of the southern tip of Italy. Now, you have to understand, we've always seen those people that are in Italy, always high color, yellow. Our people were there. Are you hearing me? We have people there. Modern day Pozzuoli is a city of the province of Naples in Italy. Now, once again, we had people, our people, in Italy. Now, where we found Israelite brothers and were desired to stay with them 7 days, and so we went toward Rome. And from there, when the brothers heard of us, they came to meet us as far as Forum as Appius. And the 3 taverns whom, when Rabbi Paulus saw, he thanked Yahuwah and took courage, because he knew, okay, I got some of my people here. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
He understood. Now he was encouraged because there were Ibram there. He didn't go for anybody else. And remember, he was in prison because he had to go and he had to go stand before one of the, I think it was before Caesar. Yeah. He had to go stand before Caesar. So that's why he was there. Because of his stand on truth. But he also found people there. And so a lot of times when we say, we don't have anybody, it's not that there's nobody there. It's just sometimes you got to do a little more digging. You do. Because there are people here, and I ain't talking about these wannabes, and I ain't being funny, but I'm talking about the ones that really do love Yahuwah, There is somebody somewhere. We here.
Right.
So it is somebody here.
Mm-hmm.
And I count myself as being somebody. How about you?
Yes.
So we're here. And there are other people. But once again, it's that little, just that little place there that has to be broken. To where we say, y'all, we're in it to win it. And we're supposed to be together and not divided. So once again, we're seeing what's taking place. All right. Now, 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
And when we came to Rome, the centurion delivered the prisoners to the captain of the guard. But Rabbi Shaul was allowed to stay to live by himself with the soldier that kept him.
Now look at the esteem of Yahuwah. Even though he was a prisoner, he had his own little pad. He didn't have to be mixed in.
Examined me and wanted to release me because I was not guilty of any crime deserving death. And it is so.
And it is so. Did you read? You read 19.
19? Okay. But when the Yehudim spoke against it, I was constrained to appeal to Caesar. Not that I had charge to accuse my nation of.
Now, once again, Torah, we look at our own people. They didn't have an issue with it. They were willing to let him go. But because our people stirred it up.
Yep.
Stirred it up. That's why we have to constantly be praying for unity. Because no matter what, you're going to always have them that say, they may not be wrong in the eyes of everybody else, but what they doing is wrong. Now, once again, he's talking to them. Now, mind you, he in his own place, and he's called this meeting, and he's called it with who? The Yehudim, the same people that basically did not want him to be free. So you got to understand, you got that sect that say, I'm down with you. As long as you preaching and teaching Torah, I'm with you, I'll support you. Then you got that other sect that say, I don't care what you do. If you ain't doing like this, and you ain't this, that, and the other, we don't want nothing to do with you. We're going to make sure your life is a living hell.
Right.
It's sad, but it's the truth. Now, once again, he said to the men and brothers, though I have committed nothing against the people or customs of our Abbas, nothing. So they did keep customs, but once again, they did not keep customs that kept people or put people in bondage. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
He said, yet was I delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans. He was treated like a prisoner. And he was a child of power.
Right.
But because siblings didn't like what he was doing, messing up what they have established, you have to understand, when you have that love relationship with the world, and you come in and you start tearing up the foundation, yes, people are going to get mad at you.
Right.
Because you have those that want to be in a relationship with the world system and yet say, I'm Ibram. And when you come and you start saying, no, that ain't right, and people start looking and saying, that ain't right, okay, we got to shut them up because now they're messing up what we're doing. You're going to make an enemy.
Right.
There's no way around it. You're going to make an enemy. In verse 18, who when they had examined me and wanted to release me, they wanted to let him go. Because I was not guilty of any crime deserving death. This man that went through all that because of their accusation against him. But when the Yehudim spoke against it, I was constrained to appeal to Caesar, not that I had charge to accuse my nation of. Once again, our worst enemy. Do we hate him? Absolutely not. Do we love him? Yes, we do. And we continue to pray that the unity and love and their eyes be open to truth.
That's right.
So that that which keeps us divided will no longer be in that place. And we can come together and be united. And for those that are not going to walk with it, we continue to move. And it is so. All right, 20, 21, 22.
Verse 20. For this cause therefore have I called for you, to see you and because that for the hope of Yisrael I am bound with this chain. And they said to him, we neither received letters out of Yehuda concerning you, neither any of the brothers that came showed or spoke any harm to you. but we desire to hear of what you think. For as concerning this sect, we know that everywhere it is spoken against, and it is so.
And it is so. Now, once again, remember, he said, I'm bound to the chain of Yahizrael. Because remember now, it wasn't the prostituting sheep of Yisrael. It was the Yehudim that did it. Because remember now, the whole thing is what? This war against family. It's been that for the very long time between Jeroboam and Jeroboam, or how you say that man's name? Yeah. And Jeroboam, the son of Suleiman, and the son that Yahuwah chose to take the stead. So that, and remember, under the teaching and under the leadership of Suleiman is when everything was divided. It was when it was divided. Yahuwah said, I'm going to take it from you, Ahijah the prophet said, and I'm going to give it to you, Jeroboam. And you're going to leave 10. But I'm not going to give you all of them. I'm going to give Yehuda to the son of Suleiman, that there will always be a light unto the family of Dawood. And from that time forward, it has always been a fight with the kings of Yisrael and Yehuda. It's always family. You know how you had them cousins that no matter what you try to do to love them, it's just in our blood. It's always, you know, for some, it's always we can deal to a certain degree and certain level, but then we get to that point to where now it's, and we have to back up. That's what this is. It's about family. That's why when we look in the set apart scripture, you have to understand he's talking to us as a family, because it is the family that is divided, and the whole mission is to bring us together as one. Until we are one, we cannot go home.
That's right.
Until we are one, we can't go home. That's the challenge, and that's the prayer. Unite us so that we can be one. And this is why Rabbi Shaul is appealing to them, because he said, look, this is what's going on, and I need to talk to y'all. And they said, but we have not heard of it, not among us. He said, but we desire to hear of what you think, for as concerning this sect, know that everywhere it is spoken against. Talking about that sect or that group of people, you're going to always have and always do something differently. And that's what we have to drill. And when I mean drill, that's what we have to get beneath that and find out what is going on in there. Because if we're all getting or being made, it's almost like parents when you have a family, and this is what it is, and you start thinking, you know, when y'all talk among yourselves and you say to the little ones or whatever, you say, if Papa or Emma have to get involved, you're going to really get in trouble.
Yeah.
We're trying to diffuse it.
Right.
Once you've done what you can do and you have to get out of the way, and now it comes into those that have the authority to do so. Now ain't nothing you say or do can stop it.
That's right.
Because while you in that place, that was what it was for. And that's why it's important that those that have an ear hear what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying unto the congregation. It's important that we understand that. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
All right. Now once again, he's getting in and he's appealing to them. Now let's look at 23, 24, and 25.
And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him unto his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of power, persuading them concerning Yahusha, both of the Torah and of Moshe, and out of the prophets from morning till evening.
Now listen at this, y'all. Woo, this just feel them chills. From morning till evening. Because remember now, the appeal is to get all of us in one mindset and one heart. He has to appeal to them concerning Yahusha, because remember, I believe in Yahusha and some of them still don't. That's their whole problem is, we don't believe in him. He is, I've heard people say he's a pagan. We have a chance to deal with some of our Yehudim. Ak and Akodi. And I had a phenomenal time sitting with them, and I felt really esteemed to be in their presence. And I'm telling y'all, at first, it kind of was like, he won't say the name of Yahusha. You know, you start getting like, wait a minute, dude, that's my love now. You can't do. But then I understood when the Ruach HaKodesh said, they don't see. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
That's not when we get to the point getting out and say, well, I'm going to preach it, I'm going to show them, and I'm going to jam it down their throat, because they're going to find out and they're going to know. No, that's when we continue to live the life. That's when we continue to say, now, when you come back, let's have some more time to talk. We didn't debate, but we had a beautiful discussion at the table while we ate. And we talked about the different things. He said, I don't know who he is. She said, I've never heard of him. She said, so I don't really know. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you got to show me how to deal with this, because this is kind of, it's foreign to me. For somebody to say they don't know him. And though we read it in the scripture all the time, but when you're confronted with it face to face and you're dealing with it, that's a whole nother scenario. Because you got to make sure your emotional stay intact, that you don't get, well, wait a minute now. Because y'all know how we get when we're trying to defend him. He don't need us to defend him. He needs us to stand for him.
Yes, that's right.
He can defend himself. But I had a beautiful time with him, and we sat and we enjoyed ourselves and we ate, and it was awesome. And we had that time, and we talked, and we embraced, and we said, we will talk again. So once again, you have to understand, he was dealing with them concerning Yahushua, and from morning till evening. Sometimes you get to teaching, and you have to understand, when you teach and you love, you get lost in it, because you really wanted to convey it. Them people were sitting up there, oh, I'm getting tired. This is boy, he long-winded. Y'all remember him saying that? They long-winded. That's the saying they had in church. They long-winded. No, they're not long-winded. You have to get your point across.
That's right.
Because you're trying to convey to those that are not believers the importance of becoming a believer. And they said, we want to hear what you have to say. See, because one group may reject it, but there's another group that's ready to listen.
Yes.
And you have to use wisdom. And you have to get their attention. And when you get their attention, you can't afford to lose it.
That's right.
That's why I'm a stickler for doing what we do. Because if I never see these people again or hear from them, the whole point and object of it is to plant that seed. Plant that seed. And so he's talking to them from morning to evening, like we do. Shabbat, we come in the morning, and sometimes we come out about 2, maybe 3. And I try to be conscious of the time, but you can't be conscious when lives and souls are at stake.
That's right.
It's like a meal. If I go order a meal, don't come out with no half a potato and I order a whole potato. Don't come out with half a steak and I order a whole steak. Don't come out with half a piece of broccoli when I order a serving of broccoli.
That's right.
Are you understanding?
Yes.
Because we're going to have some issues. You have to get the full course meal. Because you have to convey it to where they are so that they can understand. We can't do microwave because it don't work and it's not healthy.
That's right.
Truly unhealthy. It may be quick, but it don't work. Put that baby in a crock pot, let it cook. By the time you open it up, that roast be so, you just let the air touch it and just start falling apart. See, I can cook roast like that. Yeah, I can. All you gotta do is look at it and it says, and it don't be dry, but it be moist and tender. That's the way it's supposed to be. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So once again, this is what he did. Now listen at 24, 25, and 26.
And some believe the things which were spoken, and some believe not.
Once again, we accept those that believe, and those that don't, we don't fight them.
That's
We let
right.
them go.
That's right.
All right, come on, read.
And when they agreed not among themselves, they departed after that Rabbi Paulus had spoken one word. Well spoke the Ruach HaKodesh by Yashayahu, the prophet of our Avon.
And it is so. Some believed, some did not, and they probably got into heated argument. And it says, and when they agreed not among themselves, they departed after that. So they left. They didn't, it wasn't nothing else. Are we hearing?
Yes.
They just left. And so you leave them, but the ones that believe and want to follow, those are the ones you nurture and you maintain and you keep. We don't go after them and try to beat them down and make them feel bad. They don't believe because they're going to be the ones that suffer the consequences. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, 26, 27, 28, please.
saying, Go to this people and say, Hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and not perceive. But the heart of this people is gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes, understand with their heart. And should be converted, and I should heal them. Be it known therefore to you that the salvation of power is sent to the Gentiles, and that they will hear it. And it is so.
And it is so. To God. Now, mind you, remember, he's talking about the children of Yas right now. Because remember, Yehuda did not look at them as being anything. That was the whole thing. It's constantly a battle. Now, once again, remember the prophet Yashiyah. And these are his words, saying, go to this people and say, hearing you shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see and not perceive. So when you talk to a lot of them, they don't. Like I say, out of the mouth, I've never heard of that. So I don't know to believe it or not to believe it. And I'm saying to myself, but it's in the scripture. And they could not connect Yahusha with Torah. But look at how Rabbi Shaul never, watch this, never disconnected and never ever made it as though they were separate. He spoke to them concerning Yahusha, Moshiach, and the Torah as one. He never came saying, it's done away with.
Sure.
He brought him in because he was always into it, but he had to make him visible to their eyes and to their heart. Well, first to their heart and then to their eyes, so they could see. They could see what he had done and see. In other words, you got to learn how to not see what people have told you. Have you ever noticed, and they did this, this is a known psychological fact, that if you tell a person something long enough, they'll begin to believe it. You can tell a person, and it's the truth, and we've have seen it. You tell a person, you're ugly, and they can be the most beautiful person in the world. And I mean, this is really broad, but just using this as an example. And so when they go and look in the mirror, they'll see themselves as being ugly because they've been told that for so long. So when somebody comes and tells them, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Are you hearing me? Your fair skin, your massive melanin is gorgeous. Are you hearing me? They have a hard time believing it because what has been told them for so long is all they see. They can't see anything else.
That's right.
So that's why you have to come in and you have to reprogram. And this is why Rabbi Shaul said in Romans 12:2, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that what is right and excellent in the sight of Abba Yahuwah. Now understand that. The problem comes in is the repairing. If you don't repair something, it will continue to lose. A leaky roof will continue to have leaks. It'll continue to allow heat to escape. So when you repair it, guess what? It alleviates two things. Water coming in and heat leaving. When you can fix that, you can make things better.
That's right.
And you can begin to do things a little differently. Now, once again, it's important that we understand, because for so long, they could not see and they could not understand this, and you have to understand, Yahuwah said that they will be his people. When he came and did what he did, they couldn't see him. Even when it is spoken of him, they could not see him, just like today. When you tell people, no, this is who he is. Well, I don't know who you doing, and that's the way you do it. May that be that as it may, and all this, yada, yada, yada. Because of what has been told for so many years. And until Yahuwah, through his son Yahushua, brings deliverance and causes the scale to fall off your eyes, you will never be able to see. I'm telling you, I was in Christianity for 30-some years. I got what was considered saved at 15. I am 49 now. It didn't take me but less than an hour to become a believer. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Not bragging, and I'm not boasting, but I am telling you the power of Yahuwah through his son Yahushua. For whom the Son is set free is free indeed.
That's right.
That's right.
When you want to be free, you will be free.
That's right.
When you are hungry, Metit Yahu 5 and 6, he that hungers and thirsts after uprightness shall be filled. I was hungry for a very, very long time, and I never lost my hunger. And when he began to show me, I did not hesitate. You got a will. You have a choice. Either you're going to do it or you're not. I could have said, well, people are going to reject us, and they did. I could have said, people are going to walk away, and they did. And I could have looked and said, well, what's more important to me? And what has always been most important to me? Is it been being with a crowd or being with people? Or has it really been to be with Yahuwah? It was always to be with Yahuwah. So it didn't matter. I love those people that I dealt with. I love them. I don't hate them. But I hate the system they follow.
That's right.
Now I do that, but I love them. Once again, you have to understand, when you want to be free, you can be free.
That's right.
You don't have to stay in there. Once again, remember, there's no chains or no strings on me. Cut all that loose. You don't have to worry about all that. Once again, but they could not see and they could not hear. And those that believed, they rejoiced at that. But for those that didn't, that's still not everybody. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So they could not perceive. Now this was a corporate blindness. They were not hell-bound just because they did not believe, but they were out of his will. They were out of his will, so they could not see the Baruch, but they still walked according to certain principles. Remember when he said not to forget the Torah, but to remember what? All of it?
Mm-hmm.
There were times that came, and even in that time, where they only wanted to walk partially, and not all the way in it. And it is so.
It is so.
All right, 29 and 30. Go ahead.
Be it known therefore to you that the salvation of power is sent to the Gentiles, that they may hear it.
Now, once again, let me make sure people understand that. That is talking about the children of Yisrael, because they were considered, the prostituting sheep of Yisrael, because they were considered what? Gentiles, because we had lost our estate. We lost our name, we lost our identity. That's how come we have all these names. You be looking at, well, what that name mean? I'm not that, so why am I named that? Because we adopt the names and the character in the culture that we are born in, or around, I'll put it like that. Okay? And so that's why we have the names that we have. And it is so. All right.
And when he had said these words, the Yehudim departed and had great dispute among themselves. And Rabbi Shaul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired bed, and received all that came into him, preaching the kingdom of power, and teaching those things which concern sovereign Yahuwah, Hamashiach, with all confidence, no man forbidding him. And it is so.
And it is so. Now after he had did that, look at what it said. And when he had said these words, the Yehudim departed and had great dispute among themselves. Instead of just saying, wait, he's telling truth, they're going to go among themselves and dispute, because you know you probably have those, well, if you're going to believe this, well, blah, 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 instead of stopping and saying, no, I believe and I'm going to walk away. Now you have to understand now, in the, right?
Yes.
Now you can imagine now, those that believe, they probably did not believe afterwards. You know why? Because there became a dispute among them. You know, because now it's them saying, well, why are you going to believe in this, that, and the other? So it begins to change. That's why you cannot, when you take that stand to believe and walk away, some people you have to walk away from.
That's right.
Because if not, you'll be disputing with them and you'll be trying to, you know, make them believe, and then before you know it, they'll be cause you to stop believing. Some stuff you just have to get away from. You do. And Rabbi Shaul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired bed, and received all that came to him. So everything that came to him, Yahuwah didn't leave him. Verse 31, preaching the kingdom of power and teaching. So he did what? Preach and he taught. I don't know why people have an issue with preaching when preaching is in the scripture.
That's right.
When you preach, there's nothing wrong with that. Preaching means to proclaim. And some of us get excited and get radical and charismatic with our preaching. Rappers, I've yet to hear a rapper rap like Ruby. I am so happy. Oh, put your hands up in the air. Wave them like you just don't care. And they get a rapper up there and they get in there. You know, I'm not a rapper, so I ain't gonna try. But I do have rappers, you know, get up there and Sean get the doing that, huh? Oh. Sean get up there and Marty get up there and yeah, I heard Justin Johnson get rap. We got rappers in the house. You get up there and you rapping and you got that beat flowing, you do that. You know, I love to preach and I kept my stuff going. But once again, you don't get up there and you be all, because people be looking at you like, What is he doing? What is she doing? It's something about that rhythm. It's something about that flow that catches people's attention. As he was proclaiming, you have to understand, he had caught their attention. I believe every now and then he wiped his nose like that and he got back and he did what he had to do. Why? Because he was adamant about what he was saying. I don't believe he was standing up there like no bookworm.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the Torah. And it said, I believe he walked around living, and y'all need to understand, you have to understand, it's something about us when we got rhythm, no matter what we do. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
It's something about that rhythm, making them move. And so it's important that we understand that with all that, he didn't stop. Just because they didn't want to be a part, he continued therein. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
For 2 whole years, and nobody forbade him. He didn't allow those that didn't want it to stop him. He just kept on going. He said, well, you don't know, somebody do. That's the mentality we have to have. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Come on, put your hands together. And give the He had confidence in what he was doing. And so on today, I want to say to you, be of great courage. Keep your head up, keep your shoulders square, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah. Know that Abba Yahuwah, it did not bring us to this place to leave us, neither to allow us to get lost, but he brought us to this place that he may strengthen us and continue to lead and guide us as we continue to adhere to his Torah, our Torah. At this time, I open the floor for any questions or any comments. If there are any questions, please make it known now. If there are any comments, please make it known now. And it is so. We're good?
Yeah.
No comment?
From earlier, from Yahuwah's Word of Kings, say Shabbat Shalom, wonderful family again, on this Yom. From Yah's Poet, he says, Yom Shabbat Shalom, Yashar, the Kings and Queens, have a blissful day of grace.
Toda. We appreciate Abba Yahuwah for those that will chime in to let us know that they're there, even if it's just for a brief moment, to let us know that we are together.
We had about 3 shaloms, and one of the brothers said, you're very knowledgeable.
Yes.
One of the brothers said, you're very knowledgeable.
Toda. Appreciate that. Toda. To Yahuwah be all the praise and esteem. And it is so.